Hello everyone, welcome back to my next video. Today we're going to continue our talk about embracing death to have your very best life. In the first video, this is part two of two. In the first video we talked about how important it was to embrace death and to live your life with the idea of your death in mind, and that if you aim to have the best death you can, the last 5 minutes of conscious life, then you will have the very best possible life. But now that's a glorious idea, and it's a big highfalutin idea. But how do we make it a reality in our lives? How can you actually put that into practice? So today I want to be a very practical video about concrete steps you can take to live your very best life by embracing and making an ally out of your death. So the first step is don't be morbid. Turn this into something that makes your life far better, far happier, far more full of joy. That's the goal. Joy in life by knowing and being ready for your death. So now let's talk about step two. Step two is get your values right. That's what we do wrong more than any other thing to have an unhappy death. We have our values wrong. We put our values on all the wrong things. So what happens is we've lived for our wrong values and the wrong things, and when it comes time to die, we think, oh my goodness, I have money, I have position, sure, I put food on the table, but I don't have a family around me that knows me and loves me. Maybe you don't even have children around you that want to be around you on your deathbed. So you put your values on all the wrong things, and then at your deathbed you realize these were the things I should have valued and didn't, and I don't have any of them. So let's talk about what your wrong values are. Fortunately, Elisabeth Kubler-Ross talks about this when she sat beside the deathbed of so many dying people. This is something she saw over and over again. People who had the wrong values. They were valuing the wrong thing, and therefore at their deathbed they were miserable. They were longing for the right values, but it was too late. Don't let that happen to you. So this is a quote from Elisabeth Kubler-Ross. "We run after values that at death become zero. At the end of your life, nobody asks how many degrees you have, or how many mansions you built, or how many Rolls Royces you could afford. That's what dying patients teach you, that we live for the wrong values. It doesn't matter if you've worked your way up the corporate ladder and you've got a lot of money and you put a lot of food on your table for your family. If you come home and your family don't know you, and if you spend 60 hours a week, 50 hours a year at your job and your family doesn't know you, on your deathbed, you're not going to have a good death. All that, you've got your value on all the wrong things. Money, things, position, power. None of that will bring you any happiness. What will bring you happiness is finding happiness in yourself and giving happiness to others. That connection to one another. There's a saying, and I'm going to repeat this several times through this video. There's a saying that it takes a tribe to raise a child. It takes a tribe to have a glorious death. And so if you want to die well, you have to build a tribe around you. You have to build community. Those are the values you treasure. First and foremost, your family and your children. Give them your time. Don't worry about the money and the food. If they have enough to eat, that's all you need to worry about. As long as they have enough to eat, they have enough clothes to wear, and they're not starving or looking bad, that's all that you really have to provide. And as we'll see, putting too much emphasis on things will actually harm your children and do them damage. So the first step is don't be morbid about this. Make it a source of joy. The second step is to get your values right. Know what is right and important at your death. And at your death will be the people around you, the love you have given, and the love you are receiving. That's the value you must treasure. giving love and receiving love, and creating tribe and relationships and connections. Those are the values to treasure. The others you have to have. I mean, you have to eat, you have to feed your children, you can't just be a slacker. We'll talk about that more. But you have to, more than everything, you have to create a tribe. It takes a tribe to have a good death. The third step I want you to consider taking is doing everything, every decision you make in the light of your death. All your choices, if you come to a decision of right or left, or I'll go forwards or backwards, or I'll say yes or no, and usually it comes down to a yes or no decision. So when you come to a choice, make that choice in the light of your death. How will this impact my death? How will this impact the people around me and how they feel about me? And at my death, will I regret this decision? Let me say that again. At my death, will I regret this decision? Will I look back on my life and say, oh, I could have, and I didn't. Why not? You don't want those why nots. If you have a chance, if you have an opportunity, try and always say yes. No one dies on their deathbed wishing they'd spend another day in the office, another day of working, having accumulated another $1,000 on the bank or another 100 shares of Apple. Oh, if only I'd made 100 shares more of Apple, I'd had a happy life and I'd have a happy death. Is that what you're going to say on your deathbed? No, 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 no. As long as you never went hungry and you always had clothes on your back and a roof over your head, and you can do real easily with a van, when you live in a van, then you can die happy knowing that you satisfied the material necessities of life. But if you live for the stuff and the accumulating and more, I gotta have more, I gotta have more, I gotta have more, you won't have a good death. I only have 5 more years to live. What should I do if I'm going to die in 5 years? And I can die in 5 years. I can die tomorrow. I've had numerous friends in the last 5 years die in accidents, have strokes, and become incapacitated. Nothing is promised past this moment. I'm alive now. I'm making this choice. It's my choice to make right now. Will I live it, or will I embrace nothingness of work and money? Because that is nothingness. On your deathbed, you'll realize how hollow and worthless it is. So every choice in your life is a choice you must make with death in mind. And if you'll do that, I will guarantee your life will change and you will have a very, very different life than you do now. Now, the fourth thing I want to talk about is your relationship to work. It is so important, your relationship to work and to money. And nearly all of us have a defective, a deformed view of work and money. It's part of who we are in the society. We are trained from the moment of birth. Our parents, the television, and then we get into school, and then it is just hammered into you every single day. You are to work. Your value is in work. If you don't work, you have no value. The more you work, the better your value. If you have more money, the better your value. You have to keep up with the Joneses, because if you don't, you have no value. Your value is in your work, in money, in your accumulations. So, and I guarantee you that when you come to your deathbed, that will become crystal clear as a filthy lie. There's not a shred of truth in that, because you're going to leave every bit of it behind, and you won't have a tribe around you because you spent all your time with work and money and things. And so all you could fit in were a few people, because all your time went to your job and to work and to money and to things. And so you could only fit a few people in, and when it comes to your deathbed, you will have at most a few people around you, and no one will know about you or care about you. So this is an Elizabeth Kubler-Ross quote. In Switzerland, I was educated in line with this basic premise. Work, work, work. Being taught work, 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 your value as a human being is in your job, is in your work, is a filthy lie that is destroying us. It's making the country great, yes, making the country great, making the corporate masters rich, very, very rich, richer than ever before. It's making you piss poor financially anymore. How many of you have got any money extra at the end of the month? and emotionally poor. You don't have a life. You have a job. You're not a person. You're a cog in a machine. That's a piss-poor life. You are only a valuable human being if you work. Filthiest lie right out of the pit of hell. Your value is not in your work and your jobs and your money and your things and stuff. Filthy, filthy lie. This is utterly wrong. I'm quoting now Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. This is a direct quote from her. This is utterly wrong. This is utterly wrong. Let me say it again. This is utterly wrong. And she is so absolutely right. That is so utterly wrong. It's the wrong way to live. And when you spend your life watching people die, you know that's the wrong way to live, because you don't die well. You die with regrets, saying, why didn't I ever live? I was more than a cog in a machine. I should have been more than a cog in a machine. But you chose not to. You couldn't, and most of you have no choice. You are so brainwashed and so formulated into this, your value is as a human being is in your work, that you couldn't break out of it. And so I'm sorry for that. And my whole goal in nearly everything I do on this channel is to help you break out of that lie, that filthy, stinking lie that your value as a human being is in your work, because it is not, my friends. Your value as a human being is in you, is in allowing your song and your heart out. If your song and your heart, if you can find it, and you can't find it because you're working too much, if you can find that song and let it out, that's your value as a human being. It will attract others, and the others will join in and sing with you, and you will be happy and they will be happy. That's your value as a human being. Finding happiness for yourself and giving as much happiness to others. That's a valuable life. That is a wonderful death. If you can look back on your life and see that. That's who I am and who I've been and what I've done. If you can do that, that's a good life and a good death. That's a good quality of life. This is what she says. This is utterly wrong. You're finding your value as a human being in your job is utterly wrong. Half working, half dancing, that is the right mixture. Half working, half dancing, half letting your heart sing and dancing for joy and having others join in and dance with you. That is the right that's the right mixture. That's the right combination. Half working, half dancing. You got to work. I've never said you don't have to work. You need money in this world. You got to have a job of some kind, and I have a whole long series of videos on getting jobs and keeping jobs and supporting yourself. My whole motivation in life is to teach you how to live on so little you can work a whole lot less and you can dance a whole lot more. Let me say that again. That's such a simple statement. My whole goal in my whole life and in this video channel is to teach you how to live so cheaply and so simply that you can work half as much and dance and sing twice as much. See? They go together. If you stop working, you can start dancing. And the only way to stop working is either to stop accumulating more money, more crap, and to live on a minimum amount of money. And if you'll do that by living in a van, if you live in a van or a car or in a tent, you're going to live really cheap. And you can work less and dance more. Work less, dance more. Work less, dance more. Work less, dance more. That's the simple message Elizabeth Kubler-Ross came up with after a lifetime of holding the hands of the dying. Work less, dance more. So I hope this, I know that was a lot. I've covered a lot of ground. I said a lot of things, but I hope it helps. I hope you can take this simple lesson and use it to change your life. Half work, half dance. That's the right mixture. And if you can do that, and if you can do all these things, you can have a good life and a good death. So until next time, I hope that you got something out of this video, that you like it on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, and let your heart sing. Let your life dance. Half work, half dancing. That's the right mixture.